we're going to take a look today at the Canon Macro EFS. So this is for their crop sensor or APS-C cameras. This is the 35mm f2.8 Macro IS STM. And so let's take a look inside the box. This lens is coming to market very soon. Let's see what we find inside. We have a lens hood and slash adapter. This will allow you to screw on actual filters to the front, and so similar to last year, Canon brought out a lens somewhat similar to this for its EOS M system, and that mirrorless lens also was actually the first to have the built-in macro lights, LED lights. And so what happens when you have those lights is that you actually can't screw on filters unless you have an adapter in place, and so that's where this will come into place. And when you have that adapter on, you're going to be able to use 49mm filters. So kind of an interesting actually lens hood here. Let's take a closer look at it. And lens hood slash adapter, in that it kind of looks like the shape and the profile of a rear lens cap on there. So kind of a unique look there. So let's screw that off for a second, and we'll take a look at the actual physical components of the lens. As you can see in the box itself, in fairly typical Canon style for its EFS lenses, there isn't really a whole lot there. You've got your warranty, you've got a few instructions, and that's pretty much it. So taking a look at the lens itself, it looks and feels, shape-wise, I would say it is really reminiscent of the size of Canon's 50mm f1.8 STM lens. Has that same kind of overall dimensions and basic heft to it, and so those dimensions are that it is 2.72 inches in diameter, or 69.2 millimeters. It is 2.2 inches long, or 55.8 millimeters, and it weighs only 190 grams, or 6.7 ounces. And so it is a lightweight lens. It is obviously a compact lens, and so it feels, frankly, it feels fairly plasticky in my hands. But then again, I've been handling a lot of Zeiss lenses recently, and so everything feels plasticky after a Zeiss. But basically, if you're satisfied with the build quality of the 50mm f1.8, you're going to be happy with this lens. So it does have a I was going to say that it has a metal lens mount, but as I feel that, I don't think that it's actually metal. I think that it's actually metal colored plastic, and so it doesn't actually, if it feels like metal, it is, if it actually is metal, it's very plasticky feeling metal. And I suspect that it is actually just a plastic mount that is kind of finished in a kind of a chrome, brass looking finish there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anyway, that's my actual perception of what I feel. And so not a lot to see there at the back. Of course, there is no moisture resistance or weather sealing. Canon does not put that on their EFS lenses. And like most of the Canon non-L series lenses I've seen recently, it is made in Malaysia, not made in Japan. Okay, so there are two switches here on the side. One is your basic switch on and off for autofocus and manual focus, and STM does provide a full-time manual override of sorts, but of course, with all STM lenses, there's no actual connection to any elements here, but what will happen is this, you can spin this all day and it will do nothing if it is not attached to a camera body. The camera is not powered on, because all this does is it takes input, it routes it through the camera body and then back into the lens, and that comes as input to the focus motor, which will then move the elements according to this. And often there's a bit of a lag, and so it is far, far, far from being my favorite manual focus system. Now, this lens also is equipped with a hybrid image stabilizer, and so I'll be testing to see how effective that is. Then, of course, the main attraction here, or kind of the headline thing, is that there is a button here that is going to allow you to control the built-in LED ring light that is right there. And so we'll test how that works in the real world, but I have a pretty good idea, having tested the EFM 28mm f3.5 macro last year. So just a few more specifications. This lens can focus down to a minimum of 5.12 inches or 13 centimeters. It has a maximum reproduction ratio of 1:1. So this is a true 1:1 or life-size macro reproduction lens, which is pretty awesome. And it has 10 elements in 6 groups, and there are 7 rounded aperture blades, and so you can see, even closed down a little bit, that the aperture is nice and round there. And so now we're going to see how it feels mounted on, this is a Canon 80D body, so one of Canon's better crop sensor bodies. And so as you can see, mounted on the camera, it is still nice and compact. Of course, it's going to be extremely light there. But kind of the main thing that we're going to be able to do now is just to show you very quickly how that the ring light looks. And so you have a couple of options. You can click it on at its brightest intensity, and then a lower level intensity, and then off. Now if you click and you hold down, it will just highlight one side, and so if you want to kind of do some directional lighting. And so anyway, I'll come back to you with some real world results as we jump into it. So there is your first look at the new Canon EFS 35mm f2.8 IS STM.